This is Atlanta, Georgia, a city that for years has stood for culture and progress. A few months ago, its citizens elected a man they thought could best do the job as mayor of Atlanta. His name is Maynard Jackson, and he's the city's first black mayor.
One of the most important figures in Atlanta politics was a man named Maynard Jackson. Jackson was elected mayor in 1973, just as the reverse migration was getting underway.
Maynard Jackson Jr. would become perhaps the most consequential mayor in the city of Atlanta's history.
Maynard Jackson understood politics, but he was also a very gifted speaker. He was a student of history.
We are the city that refuses to be divided by forces that do not realize that this is a new day. We are the city that refuses to despair, but continues to hope.
Maynard Jackson definitely sees himself as carrying on the torch of civil rights. And he's deeply interested in people returning to not just Atlanta, but the South more broadly. He thinks they should be part of making real the kind of promises of the civil rights movement. And he thinks the election of black officials are a key part of that.
Jackson became mayor at a time when black politicians were being elected to office in record numbers. And his administration would quickly become the model for what was possible through truly empowered black political leadership.
Maynard Jackson was a gifted lawyer, so he knew how to weaponize the policy to work on his behalf. And so he starts making policies that were more inclusive of black Americans.
When Jackson becomes mayor of the city of Atlanta, which at that point was slightly majority black, they look at city contracts, and over 99% of city contracts went to white firms.
By the time he leaves office, black contractors were receiving 35% of all city contracts, which meant that every black entrepreneur from the Caribbean to the continent, from Chicago, Detroit, New York, they were all descending on Atlanta.
So Atlanta becomes the leading city of the new Great Migration. And it's defined in many ways as this black mecca by the black middle class, by business owners, by corporate leaders.
One of Maynard Jackson's biggest triumphs as mayor was winning the bid for the 1996 Olympics.
The International Olympic Committee has awarded the 1996 Olympic Games to the city of Atlanta.
The Olympics coming to the South is important, especially for the city of Atlanta. It brings international attention to the city that seems to be the promise of Martin Luther King, right? We have this black political leadership who is going to be in control. It also brings this kind of cultural flourishing.
The Olympics turned Atlanta into a world-class destination.